Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Daniel-san.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Kinda.
Daniel-san.
Oh,
Yo,
like
hey,
how
Have
funny is
we
it?
spoken about Cobra Kai on the
Yes, but
pod?
let's
Because
actually talk about that again. Where are you at? Have you watched any more?
so I have watched a little bit. I watched like the first. I think I'm 3 or 4 episodes into the newest season now.
Season 4. Yeah.
Yeah, so season 4. So now,
Oh.
which is what I've been waiting for forever. Which they kind
Is
of
it-
like didn't it happen at the end of last season when they kind of merged their dojos? Like after they
Yes,
decided
yes,
the guy
yes.
was kind of
Yeah,
Miyagi-Do
yeah.
and Eagle
I'm on
Fang
that
merged.
season. I'm on
Spoilers,
that season.
spoilers. Yeah, okay. So I'm not gonna say too much else, but like I feel
It's
like that's
been
what I
the
was
newest
waiting
season
for
has
this
been
whole
out
time.
for like 4 months. I feel like it's
Yeah,
fair
yeah,
territory.
I don't care.
Well, I know, but
about
I don't
that,
want to
like-
spoil it if Farms can watch it. I
Fair,
don't want to.
fair.
No.
I hate it.
Like, well, so like where I'm at with the show, I guess I'll tell you is like as I was watching season 3, I felt like it was really inferior to the first two, and like I
Yes.
heard about season 4, and like
Yes.
I've just been very. It
But let
feels
me
more
tell
like a
you,
slog.
season 3 was definitely more of a slog and slower. But it felt that once season 4 came into fruition, that this is what it was building towards the whole.
Like, is this the
time.
final season? Like, is
No,
are
there's
they gonna
another.
do one
There's
more?
another season coming. Season 5's already
really?
been.
Okay.
Season 5's in.
I feel
production.
like it's kind of like what we were talking about
all
with
the
Fast and Furious,
conflict.
you know?
All the conflict between like not the senseis, like all the kids,
Yeah.
feels so stupid at this
I
point
agree.
that it's pissing me off.
I have a friend who thinks that too.
I will,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
that shit's
I'm the same
bugging.
way. That's
Like-
kind of why I got over it for
Like
a bit.
they're getting angry at each other and fighting each other and beating the shit out of each other over the stupidest reasons, and I'm like, these kids
like,
shit is.
You like this dojo? I like this dojo. We gotta be tough and brutal.
Cobra Kai taught me.
I saw
how to be
you
good,
hugging.
man.
I saw you hugging Ricardo after he just got out of the hospital because you
names
fucking
correct.
injured it.
Get their names.
Yeah,
correct.
let's
Come
not
on.
be.
Let's not
Okay,
be.
wait, what is his name? I don't remember.
Miguel.
The actor's
Diego?
Yeah,
Miguel,
it's
Miguel.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
You want his real
no.
name? You want his real name? His real name is Jolo.
Ricardo?
Jolo, and then Villanueva, or like
Mary Dueña, I believe.
Yeah, Mary
I was like-
Dueña. Yeah, I was like, he has a wild name.
How is like, and I don't know, man. Fucking
The
Rooney or
kid violence
his name
eventually
is.
got old.
Listen. The
Like,
kid violence is not great, but
Priest-
it's the
Priest
embodiment.
is one of the best characters, which I hated him when he first came. I was like, why did you bring this old? Yeah, I was like, I don't know if they really needed to bring him back as well.
Bro, they've got Terry
Well, he's
Silver.
like the villain.
They've got the best villain
no, it
movie
definitely
history.
worked.
Terry Silver is literally okay. Have you guys both seen Karate Kid 3?
I think so. Is that
I
the
have
one
not.
where
No,
he's
you
in
talked
Japan?
about that where he goes to Japan. So that's why when
So
I was watching
you are
Cobra Kai, I was
that's
confused.
that's 2. In 3,
That's
he
2.
comes
Oh.
back to
Oh,
America after.
Oh.
So in 3.
Okay, so no, I've seen parts of 2, but never 3.
So with 2, spoilers from the 1980s, everyone. Sorry, but let's just do this. So in 2, he goes to Japan after winning the All Valley, and he goes back to Miyagi's hometown with him because Miyagi's dad is dying. Miyagi's dad dies, and then the guy who it was his Miyagi's best friend. He was going to marry this woman, and Miyagi was also in love with her. So to not dishonor her, he just left, and went to America. And basically, that was like a whole dishonor thing. That like, because the guy had challenged him to a death match, he never fought him. He dishonored him by not fighting him.
Oh yeah, you can't turn down the duel.
Pacifism is not the option there; it's honor, right?
Yeah.
So they go for the honor. So then they go back,
Honor over
and
death.
then his student Chosen is wanting to fight Daniel and cause harm to Miyagi, and that results in Daniel at the very end of Karate Kid 2 having to fight an actual death match against Chosen, and then
he spares him.
shows him mercy. So Chosen shows back up, whatever. In season 3, Daniel goes there.
Yeah, I'm like at that point.
Season 4, where Durs is at though. Terry Silver, the villain who revitalizes Cobra Kai in Karate Kid 3, which was why so the events of Karate Kid 3 are the reason why Cobra Kai even had in the first seasons where they were banned from the All Valley. It was the actions of Terry.
Because I thought they got banned in the first film.
No, they felt a little dirty, but it was fine. But in Karate Kid 3, Mike Barnes.
Is Terry Silver. Okay,
yes.
okay.
So Mike Barnes is hired
yes.
by Terry Silver because Mike Barnes is this bad boy karate kid from the Karate magazine CCs to fight Daniel in the tournament and entice him. But he also then goes farther and like harasses him in this new. So Miyagi and Daniel open a bonsai business together in Karate Kid 3. And
because they talk about that
the
in the
bullies keep harassing and breaking into the business and like trying to entice Daniel to fight, and he's not going to fight. They go through a bunch of stuff.
Then he opens up a can of whoop ass on him. And
Actually, what happens is Mike Barnes does he keeps purposefully gaining a point and then like taking illegal points to take them off of himself. So he pulverizes Daniel in a fight actually until the very end when it's sudden death, and then Daniel lands a really good hit on him and
hits him with the classic kick.
He doesn't do the crane. That would never work in that situation. But he does beat him, and he wins again. And that makes him the 2-time champion. But because of how brutally he fought, encouraged by Terry Silver, he was the one who was doing it. And Terry was also at the crux of that tournament. He was saying like, hey, I'm going to, not only are we going to have one Cobra Kai, we're going to have Cobra Kais all across the valley. Like there's going to be Cobra Kai dojos for everywhere. We're going to help build up karate in the valley. And he's evil and maniacal. He's truly, so here's what he does at the introduction of his time in the movie. He's in a bathtub. In a bubble bath, sipping champagne, talking about extorting public figures to pay off for the fines his company is accruing because he's a multi-millionaire. And John Kreese shows up to his house, beaten down after losing the tournament, and he's like, "Hey man, we was in the army together." Like,
Kreese shows up back to like.
Yes, you remember when he was in Vietnam in season 3? That's where he was with Kreese. That you see Silver then. Like he saves Terry then. Right. So that's why Terry's like indebted to him. So Terry then will always help him. So that kind of sets up the whole actions of season of movie 3 and then also
knowing that
season 3 and then building into 4 because that's when Silver shows up again in season 4. And let me tell you, Terry Silver, so he's like a president. He's the CEO of this company. When he finds out Daniel is who he is, and like he's like Kreese, like, here's how I'm gonna help you. You're gonna go take a week down in this like island and go like relax. I'll deal with him. So he starts like taking off appointments he has with other people, and like starts like clearing his appointments to then harass, torture, and brutalize a child, an 18-year-old. Because for like 2 to 3 weeks, and he's playing like a fake good guy and mentor role to him, where he like brainwashes him slowly and gets him to separate from Miyagi. On the show
now too.
Yeah. So he wants Miyagi, he wants to help Daniel, and he convinces Miyagi's not going to help him basically, so that he's like willing to help him, and he gets like Daniel's knuckles to bleed and stuff, and like all this stuff, and teaches him the Cobra Kai like bad mentality,
the Cobra Kai aggression.
Yeah, it was true. Daniel became like a non version of himself.
No mercy.
Like, thing. Yeah, it was. That's why Daniel's so afraid of it, man, because he himself was subjected to the toxic mentality.
It's crazy. Knowing all that makes so much of the show better.
Bro, Cobra Kai is so good when you understand that. Like, okay, I understand like
the history,
it's 3 movies. What's 3 whole movies? But
the deep mysteries.
Well, like people regard the Karate Kid 1
the manga yet.
Shut up. You didn't read the bonus chapters or watch the OVAs?
I just did the dub, so it was a little odd.
I'm on the dubs, bro.
I'm glad to hear you guys are back on it though, because it's good. And here's the cool thing about it. So before season 4 came out at the beginning of this year, season 5 was already like underway. Like it was working already, like filming and stuff. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's big. It's a big production, and it's got a lot of money in it, and it's really good.
I just like it because like we were talking about at lunch, we were talking about you haven't seen Fast and Furious. It's that same kind of like campy sort of just like everyone in a town is just beating the absolute fuck out of each other, and it's a bunch of kids.
Yeah,
and no one cares.
Absolutely,
like the police are never called. I literally said I was gonna tweet something and it would be a banger.
Dude, I had a banger today. I had a banger earlier this week. 19 likes.
19 likes? Damn.
Yeah,
I was like, I would support increased police funding if I lived in the valley where these kids live. Because
approving local militia.
There's just no police. There's nobody stopping these children from like beating the shit out of each other in school and paralyzing one kid. Like,
absolutely.
A real parallel to actual California, where roving bands of karate gangs, children.
Yeah, like I guess that's. I mean, I've been to California. I don't know.
Why do you think everyone in California is moving to Texas, idiot?
All the karate gangs are getting out of hand.
It's the wild, wild west, truly.
They just can't stop the Valley tournament. It just happens every weekend now.
Yeah.
It just becomes so important that it happens on a weekly basis.
I mean,
the children are in the street.
The things that some of the
just
children
Mortal
do,
Kombat.
though. Okay, enough of that. No.
I mean, it's just like
Goro's not showing up, dude.
the Mohawk dude is just like an absolute unhinged psychopath. He needed to be in jail. Hawk, I mean, I love it because of how unhinged he is, but he deserves to be in jail.
Watching the show
He
before
does.
you judge. Okay?
And the new girl, I don't know her name,
Tori.
Holly or something.
Tori.
She's just annoying. I don't like her very much. I think all the other girl characters on the show are like
remembering Miguel's name.
Yeah, you said it was even worse because you were like, oh, Fernando, Diego. You're like,
Fernando, Holly.
That's not any better.
Jan,
we're any closer
instead of Sam. It's
Well,
Jan.
to be fair, I don't remember. What's Cobra Kai's name? The guy who the blonde dude who got his redemption.
Johnny Lawrence.
Johnny Lawrence.
I don't remember his kid's name either.
Alec, I watch this when I'm laying down going to bed.
Yeah,
like, it's not like I'm not into the lore. I don't know that. Okay. I didn't
see. I
read the manga. We get it.
I thought his
Robbie is also getting the shit into the stick because he's the only one the cops seem to pay attention to at all. So then my man's is just getting
he already
the
had
shit
a record, so that's kind of the problem.
Hawk should have a record. Tori should be in jail for her.
Yeah, Robbie should definitely be in jail, but he
and
already
her
was.
landlord.
Robbie does jail time. Robbie does jail time.
I know, but they all should be in there with him. They should be fighting in jail like real children.
Okay. All right, enough Cobra Kai. Let's do the intro real quick and let's get into the actual episode. We're going to use that though. I mean, it was good. So
that was too good.
A nice little Cobra Kai rant on the side.
I liked it. No, it's me.
Oh, okay, good.
It's my turn, Doris. All right. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 1 to 10. Oh, we're holding on. I
was going to fix my hair.
Cute little Dursman has to interrupt the intro. All right. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 1 to 10 podcast. We are here with GF girlfriend, goth gamer girl Durs, fixing her hair. We have pro gamer boyfriend Trill and me, Twitch viewer, third party Fleeb. Hello. Yeah. Welcome back.
These are simp.
Yeah. I just shipped their relationship so hard. And inevitably, when gamer girl sends an uwu picture to another guy, their relationship will end.
I said the S word, so his VOD's getting deleted off Twitch.
Yikes. All right. So, we're here again. We're here again. How we doing today, guys?
Dude, I'm doing great. Tummy full. Yo, that Impossible Burger though, like I actually couldn't.
You put that down pretty quick. For reference, everyone, we're doing quite well. We had a nice lunch today. I am very hungover, so I apologize if at any time.
Yes. Quick, let's everyone pause and let's give a moment of happiness for Durs's birthday yesterday.
It was my birthday, so I could quite.
Yeah.
We had a few shots. Let's just say
everyone is now in their mid to late 20s on the podcast, so it's a good time here.
Yeah,
we're becoming old.
I'm 25 now. I can rent a car without paying a young person.
Let's go.
This last milestone. After here, it's all downhill after there.
Now that you're 25, do you hate new things more?
Yeah, those damn kids, and they just are always on the TikToks, and
Hey, so speaking of those damn kids on social media, let's acknowledge our first guest and topic on this here podcast and inviting him in, Logan Paul at WrestleMania, and that fucking level of cringe, as the kids would say. Dude,
call me a zoomer. I fucking loved his little stint at WrestleMania.
No,
it was good.
It was
did a good job.
Okay, you know what? Okay, so last episode I said it was gonna be my first hot take. It was a pretty lukewarm take, but here's a real hot take. There it is. Logan Paul at WrestleMania is even more cringe than the shit he did at the Japanese Death Forest. Suicide Forest. That is just truthfully like. It was so cringe. The whole Pokemon chain too. I understand it's a special Pikachu that's worth $5 million. Like, but honestly, dude, Giga cringe, man. Giga cringe. Like,
he's one of the most cringe people I've
ass beat by Rey Mysterio. I understand that he's like a whole,
I want him to be in an actual fight. Okay, I want him to get his ass
The problem with Jake Paul now is that, and Logan Paul too, really, but like, okay.
Both of them.
The problem with them is that they've gone so far over the threshold of being like influencer boxers to real boxers that it's not even like it's just dumb now.
But they do. Dumb. I mean, every single match they've had, either one of them, if they both just pick some easy person to beat for
exactly. It's not really that entertaining.
Alien celebrity that needs some PR to prop up their.
Now, have you guys heard about the Creator Clash coming up though?
The Creator Clash?
Yeah, you guys know who iDubbbz is?
I want Jay Schlock to beat down Jay.
Yeah, so iDubbbz is doing iDubbbz is doing a Creator Clash where he's having a bunch of people training for boxing. Like 20
That's
plus.
Hilarious.
It's going to, I think, like on May. I think it's maybe it's actually next week or something. I can't remember.
Did you see the list of like who's in it?
We can find out. We can
pull it up.
Jamie, can you give me a list, please?
Jamie, thank you, Jamie. While you're doing that, I'm gonna defend Logan a little bit at WrestleMania.
Yeah, absolutely.
First of all, it was a tag team.
Yeah, you're a resident wrestling fan.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he fought Rey Mysterio and Rey Mysterio's kid, Dominic, the one that he won custody of against Eddie Guerrero back in the day.
Wait, what now?
So, okay, so yeah, a little history for you. I think it was at like basically the lore of the show was like Eddie Guerrero had a kid and he neglected him, and Rey like got with his girl, whatever. It was raising. I think so. I think it's fake. I think it was always Rey's
wrestling.
Kid. But the thing was like Eddie Guerrero randomly was like, I want custody because fuck you, Rey, because they had a rivalry. So they made it a ladder match where they hung the documents for the custody of Dominic at the top of this chain, and they had to fight each other and climb to the top and get it. And one of the most entertaining things, the B-roll, the fucking clips and trailers for that fight, hilarious. But back to what I was saying, Logan did well. He did the fundamentals. You could tell he prepped for it. And at the end of the day, it was an entertaining fight. He did win. He beat Rey's ass. And then his partner like kicked his ass at the end. So it was everything you wanted. You got to see like actual good like fundamental shit, and then you got to see Logan just get fucked on in the end.
Fuck Logan Paul.
Yeah,
no, but it's not like real fighting.
I disagree with your take about it being more cringe than the seppuku forest.
That's why it's a hot take, brother. You don't have to agree.
Like, bro, that like he wasn't offending an entire country.
You know what? Actually, it's such a hot take. I'm gonna bring it again. Hot take again.
Ding 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 ding.
All right. Okay, so here, do you have any opinions on this here Logan Paul man? Stop with the creed.
I mean, I will not watch wrestling unless it's real and they're actually fighting.
Okay. All right, so that's fair. That's fair.
Logan Paul being involved with it makes it like triple cringe to me.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like Rey Mysterio, I know who that is. I've heard that name before. Like he's a popular like entertainer. You know, I appreciate the entertainment of what they do. Mm-hmm. I just personally don't like it.
I agree.
No, I agree.
So having Logan Paul on it makes it even. I would absolutely not watch that.
All right, so Jamie has got me over that list of all of the fighters. So the main title event is iDubbbz versus Dr. Mike of TikTok fame.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Dr. Disrespect. I was like,
I was about to say Dr. D would fucking kill him.
Well, let's disregard that. Let's go to the more important ones that actually do know exist. So Alex Wasabi is fighting somebody, and he fought KSI.
I want to see Saikuno fight.
Hang on. We're gonna get something better. So then we have Yodeling Haley versus Justin Minks. That will be interesting. I would love to see Minks fight. Graham Stephan versus Michael Reeves.
Graham Stephan versus Michael Reeves.
Okay. Here's where you get really crazy. Hang on here. Ready? Super Mega's Matt Watson versus his dad. Harley from Epic Mealtime versus the Game Grumps Ego Raptor. That's going to be insane. Hang on.
What is this? This is
Creator Clash.
Bets on this?
Okay, we will. We'll have to come back around to it when it happens. Actually, it's on May 14th in Tampa, Florida. Okay, so we have Super Mega's Ryan McGee versus YouTuber Alex Ernst. I Did a Thing versus The Odd Ones Out. Internet Common Etiquette with Eric, that guy, versus DJ Welch of Animators versus Games. Starkilla version. So it's Ab Starkilla Ayad versus Muscle Party's Hundar, and then one more fight to be announced.
Okay, so if we're comparing this to like Logan Paul, then this is the Logan Paul fucking talk. This is Igor Raptor versus fucking Charlie.
Wait. Apparently XQC is considering joining. Oh, he's gonna be
my god.
XQC is gonna be a color commentator. That's gonna be
perfect.
insane.
That's perfect. That's literally one
and
of the
so
best
is Charlie. Yeah, so Charlie, XQC, and then FaZe Sensei are gonna be the color commentators.
Oh, those
Pre-fight interviews will be hosted by none other
Charlie
than
is like the
S-Fans.
perfect commentator for
Oh,
any
guys, no, wait.
Wait.
The post-fight interviews are being done by Chills. Do you know who Chills is?
Jesus.
I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna double check this before I say it. Jamie, can you give me this confirmation on this information?
But the guy from Epic Mealtime, Charlie versus Igor Raptor, is gonna be.
That's gonna be it.
Yeah,
that's the
real
poster fight for me.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I saw. I gotta remember.
Graham Stephan versus Michael Reeves is gonna be my personal favorite.
I feel like those two are gonna bring out like battle bots and fucking go at it. Like Michael's gonna have some sort, like I don't know.
No, Michael Reeves actually works. He's like kind of ripped. He's just really. Yeah, like I remember at one point they were when they were first starting offline TV, like when he first moved in.
Number 10, Burger King.
But they were like talking. They went and did like some strength thing, and like he was just like lifting all this stuff, and like everybody else was like shocked. I was impressed.
Oh shit, that's who Chills is?
I think so.
Oh my god, that
he's
is
like the 30 scariest videos of skeptics want deleted guy.
Yeah. Okay, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, Chills.
Igor Raptor, what do you think of that fight?
Dude, that's gonna be insane. Igor Raptor, how do you feel?
That is gonna be so.
After taking the W off of Canadian YouTuber Harley from Epic.
I think Harley's gonna beat his ass.
He's gonna fucking eat him alive.
I think Harley like dropped a lot of weight because he didn't really do Epic Mealtime stuff anymore. They just
that disgusting fast food grease that was layering his body's gone now.
No more Jack Daniel's sauce. Yeah, man, that's gonna be way better.
I blame them solely for the obsession with bacon in the early 2000s.
Oh, for sure.
Boys, we're gonna have Jamie send me over some information here. We'll move into our next topic. But as to remind you guys, we're gonna talk about Amazon next. Now, there was something that kind of happened over at their Amazon. They had a little leaky leak on Twitter there from a person who sent out a list of banned words that they could not use in their work group chat. Would you guys like to review them one by one and talk about them, or would you like to hear the whole list and then we'll go forward?
How about you just start listing them out and then can we stop you? Yeah, and then sure,
I got you. Okay, so number 1, I hate. Number 2,
you're not allowed to have any disdain whatsoever.
This is only in the group work chat. They cannot. They can probably text, on their own phone and all this stuff. But
Garfield is just fucking in tears. No more hating Mondays, bro.
All right, ready?
Mondays.
Number 2, Union. 3,
okay.
Yeah, they're already
Fire. 4, Terminated.
So if there's a fire in the building, you can't say if there's a fire in the building.
I don't.
You can't be like, what time is a fire drill?
I think context doesn't matter. I think it's used other ways too much, apparently. 5, compensation, pay raise, bullying, harassment. I don't care. Rude. This is concerning. Stupid. This is dumb. Prison. Threat. Petition. Grievance. Injustice. Diversity, ethics.
Yeah, so it's just basically like, okay,
fairness.
You can only talk about your labor, and
wait,
that's it.
There's this. That's half. That was half of them. I'm gonna give you the rest. Accessibility, vaccine, senior ops, living wage, representation, unfair, favoritism, rate, TOT, unite/unity, plantation, slave labor, master, concerned, freedom, restrooms, robots, trash, committee, coalition.
Yeah, so basically, and you can't organize. Like that's the thing. The theme is like you can't organize one, and you can't even if you're unorganized, you can't even voice your hatred of anything or even a slight. It's like when we play ARAMs in League. If I have the slightest disdain for the champion, I just won't play.
So so yeah, for the people who don't understand, in League of Legends, when we play this game mode called All Random All Middle, a 1-lane map that is just a long line, and you just throw shit at each other. All of our friends have this thing
Yeah.
we call the clause, basically.
The terms.
The
No, we have our
terms, the
apply.
clause, whatever. Yeah. So the terms apply. So basically, what happens is if we go in and any one of us just gets in a situation where we don't get a fun character to play, at any level, like not even like one we're looking for particularly because it is random, but
Yeah,
like
even if it's somebody we
anything,
play,
it's
you
not
just don't feel like
something.
playing them right
Yeah,
now.
you're just like, you know what? Terms apply, and they just leave. We just don't
leave
play.
the game and get
Like
off.
sometimes people, like it won't even be one person doesn't play. It will be everyone just stops playing. We all just like go our separate ways. It's just not
Terms
worth
apply,
the. It's not worth the energy, dude.
sometimes.
So
just to so hearing that list, when you go to like school for business and things like that,
Yeah.
like you have to take like shit. You have to take ethics. You have to take like business ethics. You have to take all
Absolutely.
these like classes, and like obviously they're joke classes, and I'm starting to see that because everything you would learn in those, they literally cut the verbiage away.
Yeah,
like
true.
Yeah.
They
you
really
can't
do.
even use the word ethics. Like, dude, I'm not. This isn't surprising though for Amazon. I think I was telling you about this story. I was going to tell you about this story of when I worked there briefly.
Yeah.
You want to hear how fucked Amazon kind of is?
Let's do that.
Oh,
So,
I did the application. I know how bad that is.
Oh,
and that was enough
I was on
for
the
me.
floor. I was on the warehouse floor, dude, briefly.
Oh boy.
And so like the first time I'm there, they're like telling us how the breaks work. And basically there's 2 break rooms in each of these warehouses. And these warehouses are huge, right? So they're far away and the bathrooms are by those things. And so basically they schedule people to where you don't get like 6.5 hours or you get a 30-minute break or anything like that. It's just it's a 1:15. And they tell you, so this horn indicates when you are on break, that your break time starts as soon as that horn goes off. It's a 2.5-minute walk to the break room and a 2.5-minute walk back. So, and that is that walk time is part of your break.
Oh,
so you're only getting like 10 minutes to actually use the bathroom or do whatever or eat. And like, dude, I remember what made me like just stop showing up because I was like, fuck this, fuck you people, is I had to go to the bathroom and one of the fucking supervisors like, no, you got to stay on to like your break's on for another 30 minutes. I was like, I'm going to either I'm going to piss in a box or I'm going to go to the bathroom. And he's like, I'm writing you up. And I was like, all right, and got in my car and just left.
I'd be like, oh, I would have been yelling. Yeah,
Dude,
my experience with Amazon is like I did the application, and even just in the application, I don't even remember what I was applying for. I was applying for like business analyst position or like some sort of something like that, you know. So like, you know, a fairly nice position, but like they're one of those people that they have like an exhaustive personality test, and when you're going through these questions, you can read what they want you to respond, and it's like, if you're in a like, because like mine was like for a managerial position in a way, so it was like if you have under like basically it was, you know, if you have people that are your employees, your directs, and you know they're having issues keeping up with production or keeping your numbers high, like what do you do? And it was like gave you the 4 options, and it was like tell them they need to work overtime to catch back up. And like that was the option they actually wanted you to like pick. Like they want you to
they asked you
work
guiding
people
questions.
like animals. Yeah, they basically wanted you to work people like animals with their very little like compassion or emotion whatsoever.
They have those personality tests for the most
and they're looking for people that are willing to do that.
Yeah.
Well,
and I was like, I got through a couple questions in, and I was like, "There's no way I want to work for this place." If this
dude, you can't. To work for Amazon is to sell your soul and your body.
Yeah, I mean, as a Twitch employee, I'm kidding. No, but for real, that's like the closest level I've had is a connection to Amazon as an employee there, and I mean, I technically still do that, but that's whatever. But I didn't have the experience of having to do an application like that, other than just waiting until I've done enough on the computer screen to make a little money doing that.
Does Amazon own Twitch?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why Prime Gaming works the way it does.
Okay.
Yeah. Speaking of, give your Twitch Prime subscriptions to me, the boy Fleeb. Twitch.tv/F1EEB. Thank you. I never shout myself out. Jesus, I should do that more often. I've had this opportunity for like 7 episodes.
You need to have you need to have your Fleeb like sign a little bit higher.
Nah,
in the background.
It's got to stay hidden. It's
okay,
mine.
that's fair.
It's
that's
for
fair.
me. It's not for you. It's for me, man. No. So here's my real take. As bad as Amazon is, and like I understand that's like horrible, and I'm never gonna work for them. I'm gonna say something that's a little controversial. I think, man. I think Amazon isn't like it's almost an unnecessary but a necessary evil in the world. Because like, who else is gonna get you your shit in 2 fucking days? Like,
yeah,
honestly,
I mean, it's kind of like,
and here's the
I agree.
reality, man. Like, I think we should give a 1 to 10 on what we think about Amazon overall based on what we said. I'm gonna say like an 8 out of 10 because ethical consumption is dead, and you're fucking lying to yourself, audience. If you believe that anything other than that is true, ethical consumption's not real. And guess what?
In the
Work
United
them
States.
like animals. Give me my packages in 2 days. Damn it.
yes,
Yeah.
my packages.
8 out of 10, baby.
So I'm gonna put Amazon at a 5 because the thing is, you're right. Ethical consumption is pretty dead, but at the same time,
You felt it firsthand,
companies-
baby.
Yeah, I felt it firsthand, and like Amazon Prime's sick. First of all, we gotta say that. Just in general, like video.
I'm
just
literally on it
delivery
right
is-
now.
You get the
exactly.
it's
What up?
Netflix, it's Walmart
It's
and
everything.
Target and
It's everything.
it's literally anything you
And
can possibly want. I
tough
can
pick,
order on Amazon.
But at the same time, like, dude, they're not even doing the bare minimum for these like employees. Like, dude,
No,
like,
they're
not
terrible.
even giving them a proper 15-minute break.
That's how you become a billionaire, though. That's the that's how
It
Jeff
is.
Bezos
It's
is so
sure.
rich.
Well, dude, no, he's trying. Jeff Bezos is trying to become a trillionaire, dude.
Well, and then the other thing that's crazy too is that
So
like
it's a
Amazon
5.
doesn't even make money off of.
I can't put Amazon lower than a 5 because I do consume it in some capacity, regardless if I'm ordering shit or not. But at the same time, I fucking hate corporations. I fucking hate capitalism. So fuck them.
See, that's where I'm at too. That's where I'm at. Like, I don't know where to rank them because on one hand, it's like, yeah, I love their business. Like Alex said, it's like I really do appreciate the fact that I can go on right now, order some shit, 2 days, it'll just
Bro, I'm looking at the Audio Technicas I want to get for us for the pod.
It'll be there. Or I just got I got the Amazon TV and I have Prime, so I got like basically same day delivery. So I ordered one night and the next morning it was there at 7 a.m.
I actually was just looking at it.
It was nuts. So
I was
like,
just
I
looking
had a
at
55-inch TV just delivered on my porch. Like
that's insane.
That's
actually.
that is alone was worth.
So I actually just looked at like some more of the head the gear we talked about for the IRL setup for the pod, and I found that the headsets I was looking at are actually $50 a piece right now. So I was like, should I buy 3 men right now? Like instead of the $80 price, I got them for I buy 150 for 3.
They're $80 a pop.
Right? See, this is the beauty of Amazon. This is why it's an 8 out of 10. I have these options just goofing around. It just pushes me the thing I want and better version, cheaper version, more.
Yeah, that's the other part of it too. Is like because they're so big, they have all these analytics and all this background underneath.
They do bring the savings.
Recommend
this Amazon TV. Is it the Amazon like software that like they do their interface?
Yeah, so it comes with their interface, but it's actually dope.
Built-in Fire Stick.
Have you guys seen?
Yeah.
Are you guys ever familiar with the Roku ones? The Roku TV formats? Do you
Yeah,
have a Roku TV, Parm?
I don't, but my roommate at one point did, and that shit was cash money.
I found out recently that there's a really cool thing you can do on Roku, and this will actually take us, maybe. No, that's the next episode. I apologize. Sorry, we were crossing notes here. But I'll just say so. I saw it on TikTok, and it was actually fucking fire. So there's on the Roku channel, you can go to like Roku Originals or whatever, or like Roku, just like whatever. And there's a Roku Live TV guide, and then you go to it, and it's just got like hundreds of TV channels, like all kinds of shit. And I was like, wait, there's like a free cable, like there's just all this stuff.
It's like Peacock. It's like their own version of Peacock.
It's even better than Peacock, really. It's like Pluto more so, but even better.
Or Pluto. That's what I was thinking of. Pluto, yes.
Pluto's gang. Yes, I appreciate Pluto for what it does.
Dude, Pluto has a 90s
CBS is owned by Pluto. Yeah, I watch that shit all the time.
Yeah.
I watch it literally.
What is Pluto? I've never heard of that.
Think of Peacock, but free.
Yeah, like no, not even think of Peacock.
I have Peacock.
Peacock has live TV, but like
Peacock's live TV. Pluto has like channels. Like there's channels where it's just like old MTV shows.
They have a Tokusatsu channel.
Oh, okay, that's cool. I like that.
So they have ones they play like old animes. They have ones they play all episodes of Naruto. They have one where they play all episodes of American Gladiators. There's one channel
on Pluto I love. So like I'm one of those people who when I put my dog in her crate, I put on like my laptop or TV for her.
Sure.
And there's a dog channel that's literally made for when you crate your dog.
Yeah,
so it's just like it's POV of like going through the like park and
we did that with like Pluto too, man. We used that for like the Bob Ross channel. Crowley loves the Bob Ross channel. But
the Bob Ross channel.
Here's a fun thing. I know I told Durs this yesterday, but recently now that there's enough episodes of the podcast actually, the episode's playlist works the way it does, where it plays them in order. When Sam leaves the house now with the dog at home, rather than leaving a TV show or something on, she leaves the podcast on for her. Or the dog.
That's hilarious.
So now he's getting used to your guys' voices. That's why he was extra like affectionate, I think, more recently.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he walked right up. Yeah, he walked right up to me when I came.
So he definitely is getting more accustomed to hearing you guys talk. I think it's pretty.
But also, I was sitting there petting him the whole time too, so he probably remembers that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's fair. But
when I came home, my dog gave me a couple extra sniffs because she knew I was out cheating on her by petting Crowley.
Oh yeah,
dude.
Yeah, when my sister's dog was over at my parents' house yesterday, because I went over at Alex's house.
Yeah.
So it was funny. He was sniffing all over me because smell him.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Most animals like me. I'm just not a huge dog person. Why? But I do like
You're
dogs.
a cat guy,
like
dude.
Crowley's dog.
Yeah.
I just like very calm animals. Like I don't
You're a
mind
cat
dogs.
person.
Like I think dogs are cool as well. No, dogs just don't tend to be calm. There are calm
That's
dogs.
what I'm saying.
Not all of them.
Yeah, but cat people are more into the calm animals. Cats are more generally calm, is what Parm's trying to say. I think.
Actually, I think Durs is like a fish guy.
True.
Honestly,
I
I don't know that I'll probably have any animals for quite a while, just because I don't want to have to take care of them.
Yeah, the
I do
responsibility
like
is something
around,
that's
but...
not for you. I get you.
Yeah.
All
no,
right,
I don't
so
mind the responsibility. I just don't want to do
let's
the
jump
work.
from one, ethically irresponsible business to another ethically irresponsible business, Meta and Facebook. So there was a Reddit post on r/offbeat. We are going to try to do a little more, world or topically relevant news more often. A little,
we're just gonna throw out some random funny news.
In a report done by a pretty credible news source, I can't remember exactly what it is. We can pull it up. It doesn't matter. But the title was that Mark Zuckerberg says that Meta employees lovingly refer to him as the Eye of Sauron. From Lord of the Rings. Now, for the listener who does not understand Lord of the Rings or does not get it, the Eye of Sauron is a giant tower with a big burning eye in the sky in the middle of the bad guy's territory in Lord of the Rings. And when think the idea of when the eye gazes upon you, bad things happen. I think this is a funny topic just because I don't think Mark Zuckerberg understands what the term lovingly means. If you think that it's an affectionate term.
He's so out of touch.
Well, dude, his Mark Zuckerberg's software needs an update, so he doesn't understand like some of these things.
Yeah, the lizard rollout format's not working out great.
Yeah. His lizard.exe started taking over a little bit too much, so
yeah, they were working on the Gen Z patch for him, and they just haven't finished it yet.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't.
They had to crunch out the Zoomer patch immediately.
He's got to know that like people just fucking hate him.
I see. I wish, and this is my very something I see all the time. Whenever I see famous billionaires out in public, like the real crappy ones, which almost all of them are. Mm-hmm. Whenever they're out in public, I just wish normal people would boo them.
Yeah.
Or just not do any. I don't wish violence on anyone, but I want them to know that when they're in public, we don't like them. I want them when they're just walking around, boo. I'm not violent. Just boo,
boo, man, boo.
Because these people are just exploiting all of us for all this ridiculous piles of wealth, and I don't want them to enjoy their time.
Yeah.
Tim Apple or Tim Cook, whatever his fucking name is.
Tim Apple.
Tim Apple visited our campus once because he's an alumni. Yeah. And goddamn, the way people were lining up to slop at
people just
company.
Lick their boots all day like they have knowledge that we can't possibly know.
This was also the deep south, so it makes sense. They don't know what's. They don't know.
But you'll find people everywhere.
Sounds like an average Apple user.
Anybody that's got a lot of money, you'll find a million people that'll be willing to debase themselves in order to get some part of their wealth.
Elon fanboys in the chat.
Yeah, the Elon fanboys. Yeah, I mean those people are he's shit. He's a cult of personality.
When I see people defending Elon Musk, who are people like me who defend Elon Musk, I think of them and I'm like, damn, their brain is 3 Skittles rattling around, and when they collide, a thought happens.
No, it's those three pieces of a Tesla stock that they own rattling around in their head after they heard it was a good investment.
Yeah, I think the glorification of
Elon Tesla coils combining together. but in reality, it's 3 gerbils trying to fucking keep this ship running.
The gerbils from that old X Cube commercial doing the dance.
Yes, dude.
X Cube. You mean the
Yes,
fucking Kia Soul, bitch?
Oh, sorry, the Kia Soul. My bad.
Whatever, dude.
They're
It was
just a
all the
brick.
same. It's all a blur of
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, I don't know. That's sort of like celebrity worship, and like I saw recently too. That reminds me another piece of just stupid news I saw. Like, the Kardashians were at Disneyland or Disney World or somewhere, and they're riding this teapot ride, and they force everybody to sit there and watch them on the ride. Like they get on and they have their own private ride of this thing. And like they just love that attention of like all this crowd of peasants just sitting around watching the royalty go through their private ride.
We truly live in a time where
boils my fucking bones. I hate that.
We are living like serfs.
We are. I mean, we are. Like it's just kind of been a continuation. Like it's really like out in the open now. About
that's fucked up but true.
Just how lowly we are. I mean, like I do well for myself, and it's still that way. Like I mean, we're really in the end, we're all just the working poor. Until you have like an obscene amount of money, we're all on the same level.
Yes, Comrade Durs, I concur, brother. Strength in numbers, brother. Yes. Rise up. The revolution is proletariats is strong.
This is where we start brainwashing.
Okay, actually, you know what? Speaking of brainwashing things, have you guys heard about the third wave of this experiment? Did I tell you about this? Okay.
Oh, God.
So.
Oh, no, yeah, you were talking about this the other
day.
So
this is crazy. Okay. So in like 1968, maybe 78, I can't remember exactly which one it was. There was this high school teacher who did an experiment with this class. Basically, the question that was proposed is like the students were asking, how could in Nazi Germany, how could like the Germans say they didn't know about what was happening? Meaning like people being ripped out of their homes, put into concentration camps, mass murder, etc. And it's a cult of mind. Like we understand it now as that it's a cult of mind and a cult of personality and like how these things happen. But basically he does this experiment and he calls it the third wave. And what it is it's like on the first day he writes on the board, he gets very strict, and he was a very loose teacher, but he's very strict with his posture, and he talks about the importance of posture and discipline. And then he writes strength through discipline on the board. And he goes over the rest of the hour of the time of class with people focusing on their posture, sitting with their feet pointed upright with their elbows straight up, and like perfect, like focused, determined posture, right? And it's the importance of it. And then it's like, and then focusing on your breathing, and like how like being very attentive and very strong men and very like willed. And then basically, so over the course of a week, he like then assigns people roles. Like they're going to
it's gonna be very wide.
And then he goes with like a hand symbol thing. It's like a C shape. It's like this, and then it's like they go like, I don't know,
wide
like this, and they go like this or something like that. It's like a wave symbol.
Yeah.
Okay, so they do
really
this.
Okay.
Yes. So it's like a hand symbol.
God, that looks
right, exactly. It already does. It's like that's bad. But these kids like get in line with it pretty quickly, and they start like taking on to it really fast. And they refer to it as like a youth movement. It's this youth movement of the third wave, and it's about how society people are getting too
Mom, can you pick me up? I don't feel so good. They're talking about the third wave.
So then there's three dissenters. There's 3 students at home who are dissenters, and they're telling their parents about what's going on at school and how they're skeptical of it. A rabbi finds out about it. He gets involved and calls the teacher and stuff. And he's like, and the teacher expresses what's going on, how it's an experiment, and he's like trying to teach them.
Yeah, I mean, just experimenting on this class of children. Don't worry about it.
During the time in which the teacher is also experimenting, he is finding himself kind of caught up in his role as like the mini dictator building up the movement. And he kind of his girlfriend even at the time reportedly years later like sees a change in his personality, and like he starts getting more strict, and he's
this guy's just a psychopath a little bit.
No, he's not doing this intentionally. He's a very innocent man. Just hang on. So he goes through this process. The students are like becoming like little like
you can't see me, but I'm
like people are chirping on other
here.
students who are people are chirping on other students basically who are like not like acknowledging people properly in the hallways with the code for that's funny.
Thank you.
That's good. Thanks for doubting. So students are really getting into it. They're like reporting other students who aren't like doing the hand signal in the hallway, who aren't like sitting upright and doing the right thing, who aren't following the rules of the classroom. And every day he's writing like a new like strength through something else on the board. And it gets to the point where like on the 4th day, on Thursday, basically, he has to have the security like guard members of the third wave escort the 3 dissenters out to the library and keep them there, which he did for their own safety technically. And then he announces a youth rally the next day and how they're going to elect a president who will be like displayed on a TV screen thing the next day. So this is like a 20-person classroom, and overtime in the class in the week, more people.
So this is like
more
high
people
school,
who, yes, high schoolers. So
Yeah,
more people in other classes are skipping their classes and starting to come. 200 students show up to the auditorium on the Friday.
Oh my god!
And they watch this. They're gonna watch the video. They're gonna do the thing. It's like 12:15. They're recording it. There's gonna be news there, and he had like journalist friends come who are in media, but not like.
See, this guy is
reporting.
a psychopath. The teacher's definitely.
He's teaching a lesson. Hang on. So hang on. He does the thing. He tells them like, hey, this is the third wave, blah blah blah. We're doing this youth movement. The president's gonna speak of the movement, and then he plays the screen. It's static, and it's nothing. And like there's like this tension in the room, and everyone's like really like postured very not like they also all dressed up in like white shirts and black pants, and then they put like little arm sleeves on them with like this like yeah.
No.
So
okay, these America
kids
really sucks.
Yeah,
People
right.
are just
Hang on. So they play the static screen.
Fuck?
The kids all like sit there silently, and then someone asks like, "What's going on?" Finally, he goes up and he's like, "There is no third wave. This was all an experiment to explain to you guys like where you would end up and how this was accelerating." And then on the projector, he plays images from Nazi Germany and like of Hitler and like all this stuff. And then he ends it with like, "You all would have been great Germans." Basically is how like the whole thing ends. Now the most tragic of all of this though is this one student who he was basically really quiet, not super sporty. Like, he was a big like kind of like shouldery bulky kid, but not like a sports kid. He was kind of average grades, not a very great student, didn't talk much during the time because he talks about it in like documentaries after this. Like a whole bunch of stuff made about this because it's actually like a really important experiment essentially to show something about human nature. So basically this kid over the time like finds it his own duty to like step up and speak up more, and then he wants to be the bodyguard of the teacher, Mr. Smith, and he calls him Mr. S, and he's like, "I want to make sure you're safe. I don't want anything bad to happen to you." And he's like, "Okay, I'll let you be my bodyguard." And he like would follow him around and like escort him around the school and stuff. And it was he really like fell in line with the movement, and he was like a high rank basically. And when it's over, he's on stage with the professor too, and like people start like kind of breaking, students get upset, and he's just sobbing uncontrollably. Like, wow. Yeah, it's horrible. Like he's crushed. It meant something so much to him, and it's just gone, and it was never real, and it means he would have been a bad person.
Psychologically traumatizing your student.
Yeah, man.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it's an important and it is fascinating study, but to do that to high school,
it was an accident though. He wasn't trying to take it that far. It just went so far. Bad.
But you shouldn't ever.
Oh yeah.
Well, he allowed it to. He invited journalists. And he sets up a I get it. You're trying to make a point, and good on you for teaching kids an important lesson about propaganda and thinking for yourself. But that's just not something, like you said, like that kid. Like you shouldn't lie to
60s or 70s.
Lie to kids. Either
either late 60s or late 70s. I can't remember which one.
But it's like you shouldn't lie to children.
I agree.
You shouldn't lie. You shouldn't construct a false reality.
After like the second day, I listening to this. Listening to the documentaries I have about it. After the second day, I just felt like he should have definitely ended it differently.
Yeah, like once he realized it's starting to become a problem.
That is a scary time.
Yeah,
that like if that is like the late 60s, doing that to radicalize students means so much. Like because like that civil rights era, these people probably already have some hard.
Even if it's the 70s, it's still crazy.
Like, I mean, it's not much you have all the Red Scare stuff. So like, I'm surprised he was even able to do that and not get some sort of Red Scare crap on the school for them having all of this.
Yeah, I don't know if he taught much longer after that. I think he had to.
Probably not.
He did.
So. We got a visit from a few guys in suits who's like, "You need to stop running around high schools trying to turn people into Nazis."
All right. So let's go from one psychological set of trauma to another, though. Let's talk about something really fun.
Horrors beyond my comprehension.
Yeah. Let's talk about the psychological trauma of our favorite anime protagonist / antagonist now, Eren Yeager of Attack on Titan.
Oh my gosh!
So
yes.
A little while back, we all finished the most recent season, And
Yes.
it's part 2 of the final season technically. And
Yeah,
it'll
now
now
that here
be
comes
part 3, men. So let's talk about part 2 first before we get into the part nonsense. Let's acknowledge it. 3 parts for one final season, necessary for the story that's happening. I know that as a manga reader, but like, I hate that you just called it as many things as you did. Just don't lie to me.
Yeah.
Don't lie to me,
Yeah,
man.
you
Just call the first
let
2
me
season
know
4,
where I
5.
stand.
To season 4, 5,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
season 6 is final
the way,
season.
The way they
It's okay.
advertised it, the verbiage they used made it seem like, oh, final
It's
season, and then like part 1 and 2. Like,
technically, the way it works with like that, it's really the final arc, like where that stuff picks up from. It's the beginning of.
But
it.
it's kind of. I feel like it's they should have let us know ahead of time.
They could have just done
obviously someone knew. That's how they.
Also, I would have appreciated a movie, but a part 3 to the season, that's fine.
A movie would be pretty
Let's just focus on part 2 first before we get.
What about a part 3 and?
Okay, we'll do part 3 first. Never mind. No, part 3 first. Fuck it. Let's do part 3 first. Yeah,
we're talking
part
about
3, man. Part 3, man. It's gonna happen, man. Yeah. No, I called it the day before it was announced. Yeah. 2023 release date, probably like fall, I would imagine.
Maybe I would imagine fall season.
A year and a half, give or take. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. Makes from spring there, so it's 6 seasons of time to be able to work on it. I think that sounds about right, probably from Mappa's production rate. Especially with Jujutsu Kaisen
I will say, this latest season. The only thing I will say about this latest season is it is very jarring. Mm-hmm. The departure from present day to where you are in the most that to me kind of took me out for a few episodes. Like it took me a little bit to like reorient myself with what's going on.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that happen internally with the whole
there's a lot of
Zeke and all that stuff.
Yeah, the coordinate and Zeke and like there's a whole bunch of crazy shit happening at the same time as I'm like trying to remember what was going on before.
Yeah, because there's the whole moment where Gabby shoots Aaron's head, and then there's the moment where the head flies to Zeke, and when technically what happens in that moment is the transformation immediately, but it's happening all within a single instance of time. Is all the things within those like 4 episodes. So there's like a lot of that kind of stuff, and then there's the other parts where you're cutting from one character to another where everything's happening.
Well, and then they just like they blaze through things really quickly, and they don't go into full explanations, which I don't want them to just sit there in detail and be like,
well, like what are you wondering? That's the question, I guess.
But like things like when they're just randomly cut to Marlians that are on the island, and they're like, oh yeah, some of these guys are volunteers, and then there's like a whole brief backstory bit, and I don't even really understand. When they shot the like blonde lady, I was like, okay, she's
so. The only thing I really
did she get die or did it? Well, they shot one of the I don't know any of the Marlians when they die. It's nice because I don't care about them. They're just annoying.
Yeah, I mean, so the only thing there's one like scene or episode from the season that I just completely kind of ruined the immersion for me, and it's when they're trying to steal the boat plane or whatever.
Yeah.
And like there's one point where like spoilers, fuck you guys, sorry.
Yeah.
Where Floke's like, oh, we just need to everyone just destroy the boat, just destroy it, and like you gotta like it just takes you out of the immersion because it's like they should have been able to do it. You know what I mean? With how many people were flying around, given where everyone's positions were, like because it's all happening within like it's anime. It takes 30 minutes to do like a 5 to 10 minute window or whatever. And it's just the way that they had like all the characters are placed and just the position of everything. It's like it's so unrealistic for them not to have destroyed it.
It's like one shot or an explosive set or whatever. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of goofy that like we have to go through all this contrivance.
It's a goofy kind of Deus Machina thing.
The arm and jaw shit was fucking goofy.
Well, and they kept making it more like they kept upping the stakes over and over again. And like it was like, okay, not only do we have to stop Eren, who's like this mega god of the universe, but we also
had to stop the Jaegerists.
And in order to even do it, we need this little plane that only these guys can do, and then we have to free them. And it's like, why are we doing all of like? Why couldn't you just get the boat? Let them go and
with like the plane just kind of like they're like, okay, this is the plan. Plan went bad, and it's like these people aren't stupid. These Jaegerists aren't completely dumb. You know what I mean?
They're friends. They're the people in the scout regiment with them.
So just that like I would say the part 1 and part 2 I was completely immersed up until then, and I'm just like, well, this seems kind of bullshitty that they got away with it.
Well, and then my other thing too is I don't like how all the Islanders are so against the like Mikasa and all them. Like I don't understand why they're like not just helping them. because
Well,
like
genocide-
I get
genocide
it.
bad.
I'm
Genocide
all
bad.
against. But they're not. Yeah, they're not helping. Like I don't understand why all the Jaegerists are the way they are. Like there's not really what's the benefit of being a Jaegerist? Like I understand they can feel threatened by other
That
you
you
don't
don't have to
If
feel
you have the
scared
Titans-
anymore, because then Aaron will crush everything and make a perfect world for you. That's the belief of the
I
Jaegerists.
just
So I mean,
But
at this
I
point in the
just
story,
think it's
though, it's like
fine.
the world has declared war on Paradis. So it's like if you aren't with Aaron and he fails, you're literally getting glassed like the Middle East.
True.
Like that's where they're at. So I get it. It's
Yeah.
us or them mentality.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I was talking to a coworker. He just kind of like told me he related
The
with
third
Aaron.
wave.
Like after the final like episode happened of the season,
Yeah.
he said he felt like he related to Aaron less than he did before. And I was like,
Wow.
that's kind of crazy. And then I wrote this like dissertation basically on what I had to think about the final thoughts as a viewer of why Aaron is doing what Aaron is doing. And it's long, man. It's crazy. Like I
Can you
wrote
Spark Note it for us?
okay, I can just read it for you if you want me to.
Field your
Okay. Let's just. I'll give the synopsis of my opinions.
Story time.
Okay. So when Aaron finally reached the ocean at the end of season 3, his hope for the world began to dwindle there. The reality of the moment set in, and that he reached his goal of beginning to understand his freedom. But when he did that, he realized that he wasn't really free, and yet another fight was in front of him with some other kind of enemy that's not just the Titans, but a world around him that he doesn't understand. Let's see. Number 2, much like we saw with like, okay, so why do the Jaegerists believe in Aaron so much? Because they have the rumbling, right? So in the terms of conventional war, Eldia and Paradise itself are not equipped, prepared to deal with the enemies that are outside of there once they begin to cross the ocean. So Aaron realized this as he was likely established early on that he has visions of the future, which he also has a place in the military too in the island, as we know with his history. So he also, and you can see at the beginning of the early parts of the final episode when he's finally getting on shore where they have the ice cream with everyone, Aaron is beginning to, at that moment in time, we have like a cognizant view that Aaron understands the difference between the memories he's remembering and his own memories and what is what. Like he's able to discern it more. If that makes sense.
he can understand.
Yeah, he can pick it apart and tell like this is Grisha's memory of ice cream and this is how it made him feel, whatever. So this can be taken as a direct implication that Aaron had become more aware over time that he spent with the memories that he was seeing and potentially of what was up to come to him for a certain point. Because we reference when he's with Zeke at the coordinate, he knows that moment is coming and this is what everything was building to. So he knows until a certain amount of time what he can see in the future. My belief is that with those futurist visions or whatever, that really he up to saw probably the point in time which he was able to become the founding Titan, and he was not able to see the future past there. So since he has done the rumbling, he has not been able to see anything. He had no force like future side of this stuff. That's kind of where I believe that is at. Now let's talk about his position in the military. He also probably recognized the progress of weaponry once he got around more and more people within the outside world of Marley, particularly. And he understands that these weapons that they are also building within Paradise are equipped to defeat Titans. So you see that with Thunder Spears, you see that with the ODM gear, you see it with all these things. So the growing threat of defeating Titans increases more and more over time as technology advances. Aaron likely notices this, and that given more time, the viability of the rumbling that he now understands of what he can do with it as a means to an end begins to dwindle over time more and more and more. So we kind of get then we let's say like 20 or 50 more years even happens. Who knows what kind of weaponry kind of even can happen. And mind you, when they first land across the sea, and when Aaron would begin to see weaponry, that would be before what we see at the beginning of part 1 for the war and what kind of weaponry existed technically. But we do see at the very end when the World Navy is fighting the rumbling, the power of the weaponry they do have.
Bro, that scene where they're all swimming through the water.
They nuked Wall Titans in one shot. Like, that's insane.
I love how they swim. I love how the Titans swim underwater.
Because
for some reason, in my head, I just thought they walked along the ocean floor. I didn't think they'd be swimming.
I didn't think they'd be swimming.
Right, but yeah,
cool.
and then finally getting to see Aaron scale too against everything, how giant he truly is at this point in time. I love how they called him the Attack Titan when he's actually the Founding Titan. But Okay,
Yeah.
let's focus back on this so I can get through this whole dissertation though. Okay, so number 3 in the early parts of in the very first episode after the battle at the end of the war, maybe even episode 2, I want to say, when you see Aaron in the cart when he is disabled and has the eye patch on and he has no leg, and Gabby is talking to all the other soldiers celebrating her victory with everyone, she says specifically how Marley is the most progressive in their beliefs about how they treat Eldians and how they treat the subjects of Ymir. Okay, this is like a noted thing that is said exactly word for word. They are the most progressive of all the outlying countries. They treat them the best. Let's reference what things we see included with that little boy in the fez that is now seen at the port when Aaron first arrives. The things we also see too are, this includes ripping people from their homes, placing them in internment camps, egregious racism, and ripping them of their freedoms. It should be acknowledged that people from the island itself are treated worse than those who are from outlying countries who have the bloodline that is retained. We see that in that episode also. So island devils are the expression that you keep hearing over and over, expressed outwardly towards them. So that kind of says it all. And the theoretical implication is that the rest of the world would be worse or more barbaric than what Marley had to offer. Now let's explore that with the child, the Fez. So Aaron witnesses it firsthand with the extremity of the bigotry that his people and loved ones will feel promptly after landing in Marley, shown in the scene with the young pickpocket. They speak of maiming him, cutting off his hand, torturing him, killing him, all because he might be a subject of Ymir, or he might be an island devil. There's no proof that he is at any point in time. This ideology is only further affirmed when the advocate of the subjects of Ymir later at the political rallies is smearing the people of the island so he can build that the other people who are not from the island, like, we have no attachment to them. They're bad. They're evil. We're good.
Oh, there's always one turncoat who's willing to go against his own group.
The last political ally, other than his Zumbiato, who are just like, we are neutral to you and we will help you, but we cannot politically vouch for you because we will shoot ourselves in the foot if we do that. So that's their only ally, and their last retained ally in like politics is out the door in that scene basically too. So that's when Aaron left, right? Like, he acknowledges on that day, like, that's done. That's where he starts making the decision to do what he has to do. So now let's reference the character of Eren Yeager himself. Eren is not a good person. Inherently, he's just, Eren Yeager is not a good person, like, at all. Okay, rather he is not driven by being.
He's also lived a kind of weird life.
Right. Though, so here's Eren's not driven by being good though. He's driven by being free. He wants freedom. Yeah. So we see it through his character from the moment his mother dies. He will not be stopped in his pursuit of being truly free, but his mission always has that undertone. It just may change forms. So from the beginning, he wanted to be a scout so he can defeat the Titans. And then he wants to
jaded as he works towards his goal.
So he's like, well, I got to get to the basement. Then I got to get to the ocean. And then once he does that, he's like, well, now it's the rumbling. Like, it's an escalation of the same idea of his freedom will not be impeded at all costs, which is what is referenced as to why. Yes.
Oh, can we just talk about how fucked it is, Mikasa? Like, one of her thoughts is, man, if I told him I just wanted him to pipe me down, maybe this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, that's now my favorite thing about that scene though is the part where Eren goes, yeah. So she's like, oh, like, I think of you as a friend. And he's just like, oh yeah, perfect timing. Was Eren seeing the future when he knew that his friends were going to walk up the hill and interrupt them comically in like a weird like awareness way, or was he just like making a funny quip? I don't know. That's one of the fun little, like, was Eren seeing the future? Is he that so fucking Raven, dude? Like, yeah. Okay, so let's see. Okay,
if Hitler got good pussy, he would have never fucking did the.
Yeah. Wait, are you saying Ava Braun had trash pussy?
So of course he
Ava Braun trash pussy confirmed. That's what we got out of this one. Okay, so Eren goes and sets his plan into action, right? So he goes to talk to Historia and he talks to Flock. That's why that's kind of cool to see Flock like die or whatever, is because Flock ended up knowing all along. So when you know that context after seeing his death scene, it's like, oh, he really believed in Eren's cause. So Eren goes to Historia, starts talking to her, does the whole fucking I'm gonna do the rumbling. And she's like, I'm not gonna help you, right? So knowing Historia would be considered to inherit the Beast Titan back then, he knew that he was out of time and only had 3 years for himself, and that the only option was to begin to enact his plan from then on, which then led to him, gouging his own eye out, being a lost war drifter and stuff, and getting to where he was to do his plan. But he knew that so she disagrees with his plan when he tells him about it, and she makes a point about Eren's own mother being from outside of the island. Eren then recognizes that what he must do is, regardless of his own hypocrisy towards his feelings about the people he loves, going so far as to protect them. and he then threatens to wipe Historia's memory if she wants it, right? Now, it can be interpreted two ways what actually has happened there from then on, because at the beginning of part 1 of the final season, you can reference a scene where Historia is seen like rocking on a chair, and she's kind of like a shell of her former self. So one of two things has either happened. Either Aaron did wipe her memory, and she is now like literally just mentally like not there anymore, or she is now haunted by what she knows Aaron must do. Or is going to do. So she's potato brained by it. Right. So she's haunted by the horrors of what's happening. So Aaron then, the last thing, this is my last little point. Aaron then thanks Historia for saving him that day and tells her that she's the worst kind of girl. This is the pivot point for Aaron's character. The moment he touched Historia, he was awoken. And he was no longer able to like hide he could live in the ignorance that would cloud his judgment without knowing that there's something massive he has to undertake, and the weight on his shoulders is immense because he wants to be able to give his friends peace and happiness in a life that they could never have prior, knowing that there is always going to be someone who wants to murder them. So this is reflected on, and this is the most like, I think this is the most like beautiful thing. In the scene where Sasha dies in part 1 on the blimp, when Gabby shoots her and kills her, Aaron cries. And at this point in time, we know Aaron's already decided to do everything he's decided to do. This is like even after that. But Aaron's like uncontrollably upset over Sasha's death. It's because in that moment, retaining his humanity, he realizes that he won't be able to give every one of his friends that life he wanted to give them.
Yeah, like that's what I do appreciate about him as an antagonist.
That is just like, he's such a deep character.
Deeply flawed.
He's deeply flawed, but he's a deep character.
But it's like at the same time, it's like you can hate him. You can hate him for what he's doing, but at the same time, like
genocide's not right, but it's
his whole driving force is like, I'm going to give you guys a world that I won't be able to live in and enjoy.
Yep.
But like all of you will be able to have the freedom that you deserve, and everyone else will be able to have that. So it's really interesting because like, that's a really noble pursuit, but at the same time, once he's taken it to the lengths he has, it's become
dude, wiping out really every single thing that's living other than the people of the island so they could live a peaceful life is not the answer, because he wants to essentially, he says he wants to rewrite the history of hatred, but you can't do that. We know as humans that every 100 years history repeats itself, and hatred will always grow in the way it does. Like he could never wipe it out, really.
Also, like the naivety of like some of the people, because at one point, like, remember when Armin was like, we can use the rumbling as a deterrent, using it to attack, like,
because he wanted to believe Aaron was good the whole time.
Like it's just how deeply naive his friends had become to the changes.
Absolutely.
And like
that's annoying.
It's like you can see his friends are noticing the changes, but like up until now, they've been wanting to believe he wasn't capable of doing the things he's doing.
Yep.
Well, and it's like, and he had, it's kind of like Game of Thrones. The people always complained about Daenerys going crazy the last season. She didn't really have much character development.
Yep.
Like, Aaron has that character development. Like we've seen him slowly lose his mind through his pursuit of his goal.
Yep.
Like, so you can be fair. Well, he's not lost
Daenerys,
his mind, but like
Daenerys should have lost her mind way earlier on, considering where, like, you know what I mean? Like,
she should have
just being sold into a barbarian tribe where you're
into sex slavery in a barbarian tribe.
Yeah, she should have definitely.
She had the embodiment of Stockholm syndrome during that. I
feel like the thing that they did with Daenerys' character, though, by delaying it and not having her mentality, shirk faster and be more deprived, kind of like it was a good thing for the story narrative, though, because then it allowed people to like believe in her more.
I
so
agree.
When she eventually turned, was just
the change was way too sudden.
Oh, I'll agree with that. It should have been different, but I feel like it's also a necessary evil.
They were two people who fallen in love with the actress, and so they couldn't have her be mean.
So the reality is that the last season of Game of Thrones is just kind of
Spoilers.
The last 3 seasons are bad.
Yeah. Okay, let's go from one fantasy bullshit set to another set of fantasy bullshit. So, my boys, we're gonna do something that we have yet to do. We're gonna share a screen. We're gonna bring it in. So let me bring this in. So we're gonna do a little fun thing we saw on Twitter. So IGN a couple weeks back did this thing where basically they did a whole article on since there's 25 Pixar movies that there is that they should rank all of them. and they ranked them really bad, man. They fucking pissed and shit on some of my favorite movies, and I got really upset about it. So I did this on stream, where I made a Disney and Pixar, or a Disney's Pixar tier list of all their movies, and I ranked them number 1 to 25, and I asked the boys to do the same here. So we're gonna present them. I guess I will go first because mine's already up on the display, but you'll see that in the top left there.
By the way.
What's up?
Like these tiering names.
Oh yeah, mine. Yeah. So I named them. Yeah. So let's cover that. So our tiers are, there's 5 tiers. There's a tier A, the top, or S, I guess, really the toppy top, which is absolutely and unequivocally bussin', my dude.
Yeah.
Number 2 would be bangers, followed by slappers. D tier really is haven't seen or have seen it and fucking yikes, mate. And the last tier, haven't seen and probably mid AF. I think at this point only not seeing 2 qualifies me to say that, like, yeah, I really don't care, and they're probably not going to be good anyways. So I'll put those 2 at the bottom. So let's start with those. The 2 I haven't seen are The Good Dinosaur and Coco. Coco, I think people like try to tell me Coco's like, oh, it's really good. It's a good music one. I have a quarrel with Disney movies that are heavily too centered around songs. And now what I'm not saying is like The Lion King or Aladdin where they have
like
banger
them breaking
songs.
out into song.
No, but like, okay, having banger songs is good, but like the story should be able to speak for itself. Having the story be centered around the music and shit is just like so droll to me, unless you do it a right way, and we'll cover that later in the tier list.
Yeah, so, unless you're doing it like School of Rock, no.
Yes, unless you're School of Rock, because if you're not too cool for school.
Unless Jack Black is the main character, it's not good.
Let's rock today. All right, so
Lawrence is good at piano.
He will be rocking at my show. Good shit.
Fucking love that show.
That's a great movie.
I watch that every night before bed.
Yeah, we need to do a bonus episode on that. Me and Durs will be singing along probably. Yeah. That'll be good. We'll do that one for sure.
That guy, I think he was on TikTok or Vine. That used to be.
No, I haven't seen.
There was a guy on TikTok or Vine that sounds like Jack Black, and he had a band that he was in, and he would do covers of songs.
That's very cool.
He like even looks like Jack Black, but he sounds like.
I think Jack
all right. Let me do this. Let me do this. We're doing a Pixar tier list, boys. We're not doing TikTok Jack Black time. Come on, man. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, man. All right, so on something a little less cringe than that, though. The have seen and fucking yikes mate category. So Inside Out. I know that this is a weird take because I know some people are probably gonna be like, Inside Out's actually a really good movie. It's got good plot. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, listen. It came out 2 years after Frozen came out, and when Frozen came out, everything Disney was making animated wise was just tarnished for me. Like I just did not care for what they were doing. The whole Frozen hype was annoying as shit to me. I still have yet to never see Frozen, which is not on this list, thankfully. Yeah, I should let it go. I will say this though, I played Kingdom Hearts 3 and the fucking Frozen world was my least favorite one by far. It was just gross.
Frozen soundtrack on vinyl.
Okay, next something else pretty let's go with Finding Dory. The bastardization of what will later be deemed my favorite Pixar movie. That's all I'm going to say about it. It's bad. I don't like it. Luca, a movie about 2 autistic sea monsters wanting to be so Italian that it's gay. They dream of riding Vespas, my dude, over the ocean. It's so fucking lame, but like it's better than the other 2 below it. And I guess there are 4 because at least when I watched it, it was so like ironically funny that I couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, there's like this scene where they're like the one's dreaming and he's with the other sea monster on a fucking Vespa and they're like riding over the ocean and they like do this big like up in the roller coaster kind of motion and then they like follow the ocean. It's I was like, what the fuck is this shit, dude? It's so cheeks. Couldn't stand it. Something else I could barely stand. Cars 2. Cars 2 is not very good movie, man. Kind of boring. Not very good. Also not very good. Monsters University. I didn't care for that one. It wasn't that great. Now, the worst of all the Toy Story franchise movies, Toy Story 4. Like you have characters like Woody making bad character decisions to like leave and I understand his character growth and how he like
it feels
on from being Andy's toy. It just feels weird though compared to the other 3 in the franchise.
Was Toy Story 4 the one where they're in the daycare?
No, it's the carnival.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one.
Okay, let's go on to something else that I've barely seen. Ratatouille. I understand people love this movie and the meme power of it, but I think this movie is so fucking buns compared to everything else that's ranked above it. Like, honestly, it's just not that good. It's not that good. I am sorry. I know this is my controversial opinion, probably. I know you guys are going to disagree with me. Yeah, shut up.
No, Parm's has it in the same spot as you anyway. He's also
That's interesting. Interesting. We'll cover that, though. Next on something that I'm not really a hater of is Brave, right in the middle of the pack. Brave is actually pretty good when you go back and watch it again. I think at the time I wasn't interested when it came out, but now I'm like, all right, man, this is not bad. Next, the second most important of the Cars trilogy, Cars 3. And why do you ask that Cars 3 is important, boys? Because I'll tell you, it acknowledges the existence of Car Jesus and the Car Pope, but most importantly, the Cussy. That's right. There is a mommy and a daddy car who also have a baby car. So it explains that has happened. Therefore, there must be a car pussy that exists. So the Cussy is real. The Cussy is love. The Cussy is life. So without Cars 3, we never would have known.
What makes a cushy good? Like, because I don't feel like you want a wet cushy.
Well-oiled, yeah, a well-oiled cushy.
Well-oiled cushy, okay.
Yeah. All right, on to something else that was a well-oiled machine. The newest edition from the Pixar franchise, that would be Turning Red, about a girl who turns into a red panda when she gets overly emotional. Yeah. Okay, what?
Okay. So before I gotta talk about this.
Okay.
So there's YT people movie reviewers on YouTube and Twitter and shit. Yeah, YT people, you know what I'm talking about.
White people happy.
Yeah. So apparently there's like this one guy who was like, this movie taking place in 2002 is so offensive to the victims of 9/11, and basically just claims that this whole movie is like something about like the whole 9/11 experience.
That's fucking
dude,
oh my
it's
God.
So cursed. I'll have to link it to you guys after this.
We'll say that for a bonus episode where we read curse sections about 9/11 conspiracies and Pixar movies. All right, on to another one that was kind of a little bit better from the newer side. Let's go with Onward. Onward was actually a pretty good movie. It had Tom Holland and what's his face, Chris Pratt doing voices in it. Pretty good, and that was right off the back of I think this trailer first started coming out like when the Avengers movies were last coming out, so like Endgame and Infinity War. So like seeing them working together in that movie, and then like, oh, now they do Disney animated movie, man, pretty good. I'll watch that. On something else that was really good, Toy Story 2. The introduction of Jesse. You had Zurg in that movie too. You had what's the name of the horse? Is it Bullet?
Bullseye.
Bullseye.
Oh, Bullseye.
Yeah, yeehaw, Bullseye. That was a good one.
Unlike the wind, Bullseye.
Right. Now let's bring that up out of the slappers tier into the bangers tier, dude. So now we got Incredibles 2. Yes, less memorable than its predecessor. Yes, not that great, but still pretty good continuation, man. And also like the good exploration of like Mr. Incredible's character, where he like feels like less than a man and less than a provider for his family because his wife is bringing in the money and stuff. It's like an interesting diatribe of his character and kind of the exploration of the superhero like male psyche. I think it's just like that's kind of the thing, and I'll reference why that's important when I get to the actual Incredibles again. Let's go with the second best of the Toy Story franchise, Toy Story 3. God, dude, that furnace scene. Holy shit! Man, I can't watch it without crying. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah. It's so good. Something else I can't watch without crying. Cars 1. Cars 1. This was the big one for me. When IGN made the list, they put all of the Cars movies.
Chow.
Yeah, dude, that's what I said. This is why I can't rank it low. That catchphrase alone, like "ka-chow," dude. That Tomater, he was
the only one that has him say it.
Right. So here's the thing: if you take that context out of there, like I would rank it lower. But the ka-chow is hilarious. But when IGN made their list, they put like all 3 Cars movies in the bottom 10. And I was like, I feel offended. Like, Cars is kind of a classic.
There's literally no joke funnier than when he said piston cup and Mater just goes, "You did what in the cup?" Come on, that's fucking top tier comedy.
That was good stuff, dude.
The comedic timing of Tomater is truly on another level.
Yeah, you're right. That was peak Larry the Cable Guy, too.
Cow tipping.
That was the last time Larry the Cable Guy was funny on the record. Wow.
Look at that. Exactly.
True, he was that exact part in the movie. No.
Damn. All right, let's go on with the movie that I've actually. This is a controversial change for me personally, putting Up as high as I have. I used to like rate Up really low, and then I watched it again recently, And let me tell you, I got real sad because I fucking sob uncontrollably at the beginning, and then the rest is like, okay.
Up is like 2 movies. There's a short film at the beginning,
yep,
and then it's followed by kind of like a nice feel good family story.
Yeah. But you need the context at the very beginning.
Holy, the beginning is like the entirety
but
of
is it
without the comedy.
Does it feel as good, man, if you don't have the tragedy there first, man? You need the tragedy to set it up.
Click, the Adam Sandler film.
Yes, Click is the ending of Click is exactly the same as the beginning of Up.
The next tier list we're gonna have to do the Sandler verse, guys.
But the beginning of Click is even worse than Up because he's wasted all of his life and he knows it.
All right.
Whereas these guys at least lived together and grew old together.
True. Okay, so next one for me, one of the classics, A Bug's Life. I love that movie. I used to have this toy that was like in the 90s. There got to this point where it was like a 10-inch figure. It was on a base.
Bug's Life flashlight.
No, chill. I was like young, 5, 6, 7.
The Bagussi.
Yes, the Bagussi, if you will. So what it was oh yes, there is a Bug's Life flashlight. It looks like the caterpillar. It's fucked up. It's fucked up.
The guy's like, oh.
There's also a Ratatouille one apparently too.
Yeah, there is.
Okay, anyways, let's not go into the Disney Pixar fleshlight tier list. Let's just go on the movies. So I had this toy that was like a 10-inch, like what's the name of the main character? Is it Flick? Is that the name? It's Flick. Yeah.
Flick, I think, yeah.
So Flick, I had a 10-inch figure of Flick, and it's like on a base, and it's like electronic, and it was animated, and it like motion detects you. And he would look over, and he'd be like, "Hey, are you part of Hopper's gang?" And I was like, I love that fucking toy. Yeah, it was cool. I loved it. So A Bug's Life has a special place in my heart for sure. All right, now to the toppiest of top, the top 6 in order. And the absolutely unequivocally bussin' territory, if you will. We have Soul, the newest edition of all of the top tier for me. Have you guys seen Soul?
No.
Watched it like once, I think, a long time ago.
Soul is so fucking good. It's about
a
jazz musician. A jazz musician who gets trapped in a cat's body.
This has been on my watch list for so long, dude. I need to watch this.
Yeah, we won't talk about it too much. I'll just say it's one of my it's out of the new generation. It's probably my favorite one for sure. And now let's get into the absolute classics. We got WALL-E number 5.
Yep.
Eva.
WALL-E is the same. Eva.
Dude, so good. I love that movie. The fat people in that movie is awesome. Like all of it's so good. All the white people, you know what I'm saying?
WALL-E is almost as emotional as the beginning of Up.
True. Yes, there is some emotional scenes there. Like, how does Robot feel so compassionate about other robots?
No, fuck the robots. I'm not worried about the robots. WALL-E is cute, and I'm worried about him. Eva can fuck off.
Fair enough.
It's only my boy WALL-E that
I'm saying I feel for my boy WALL-E because WALL-E cares about Eva so much.
But I care about the humans and the prolonging of civilization and the rejuvenation of the human race.
That is cool. Yeah, and I like that they do a diatribe about that. Cool, yeah, it was cool. And
I like that they get to look at their own hubris in these piles of trash while they rebuild too.
Yeah,
it's kind of poetic.
Actually,
I think it's kind of poetic though. In a way, they deserve it.
You're making me think I should move WALL-E up. No, because like the existential thought of like the whole like the WALL-E thing is bigger than that of Monsters Inc. But I'll go to Monsters Inc. I love Monsters Inc. Man, Mike Wazowski, he's awesome, dude.
I need to go look at mine to see where I had fucking WALL-E.
Monsters Inc. is a gang shit thing. I love that the story that they have to go through before they go from like a transformation of their whole society. And then also they have a show on Disney Plus called Monsters at Work now, and it's actually really good because it does pick up at the end of Monsters Inc. and like introduces new things. It's really cool. You get to see Mike do a really busy day at work where he's like trying to be over caffeinated to be a laugher instead of a screamer, like Sully was. So it's pretty good, man. Pretty good like allegory and exploration of like these things and the growth of characters. Plus, Monsters Inc. Kingdom Hearts World, so good, so good.
Seeing your list just reminds me I fucked up my car movie posters because I didn't know which one was which.
It'd be like
that.
Same. Yeah. I had to figure it out after a little
I'd
bit
ask
time.
Alec when I was making.
All right, I'll go through my last real quick. Toy Story, the one that started it all. That's why it's up there. Has to be. It's so good. The forgotten toys scenes where like it's the ones that he's all mashed together. And Sid's room always got me crazy. The last scene where he's flying to the moving truck and everything. The 9/11 memes that came from that because it is related to 9/11. Fucking Disney, you did this with Toy Story. Okay, now on to my last like diatribe one. I'm just going to be real. Incredibles number 2. I would rank it number 1 as like a probably better movie than Finding Nemo, but I'm just going to put it number 2 because Finding Nemo is just my favorite. I'm just going to say that outright. It's
fair.
my little sisters and I have like a connection to it. We love Finding Nemo. I'm just going to be biased and say that is my number 1. But my number 2, Incredibles.
Nitpicking and biased, you're wrong.
Much like the way that Incredibles 2 explores Mr. Incredible's character, the Incredibles at the time. Do you guys remember what year Incredibles was released in? Like 2003 or 4?
2003.
2003 or 2004, so pre The Dark Knight, any of them of the trilogy. Okay, so this is a time when superhero movies were like the X-Men or some of the Spider-Man Sam Raimi ones, and they were really campy and kind of cartoony and not really
kind of bad.
Yeah, kind of bad, not really realistic of like any kind of view of the world. And that's where the Incredibles comes in, and they have a better allegory and a better read on the world of superheroes from the first 10 minutes of the
burglary scene and the whole chase and everything.
No, let's go farther with it. Let's go with like the way superheroes were in a gloried age, and then things started happening, so they became like heavily law enforced, and then now they can't have capes, and then now they're like, because they'll have like death accidents or like I don't know, the fact that like then they had to like stop being active superheroes and just let cops do the work, and then he wanted to be for hire. The whole syndrome as a character literally comes from one small childhood like moment where his hero just crushed him and then he decided to destroy him. Like it's a very big exposition on what the world of superheroes would really be like.
Well, and it digs into your childhood fantasy too, because he gets revenge. Like the revenge is very like you really sympathize with Syndrome because you're like, imagine your best hero,
and then he gets to be the hero too. Like he's only a villain because he wants to get rid of Mr. Incredible so he can be that guy for them, but he's also making fake threats. But the whole dissection of the superhero genre compared to the movies at the time that were being made before Marvel really was doing their thing is just like so good. It's such a well executed thing. And then plus we have the classic like, honey, where's my super suit?
Where's my super suit?
I mean, that's
amazing. All right, let's go to the next one. We got Durz's tier list. Durz, you're up to the plate.
I'll flip through these trash movies at the bottom here real quick. So I haven't seen any of these at the bottom, but I don't really know that I intend to. I may see Onward out of those because that seems at least promising.
It's a good one. It's worth
very good.
I think you would like it.
Moving up to the second tier, I have seen Brave, but I really didn't think it was anything special. Like I thought it was okay. It was good for a Pixar movie, but I don't know. I couldn't say it slaps because it's just not wasn't there for me.
Sure.
Toy Story 4, pretty much the same thing. As I feel like they just mess with the characters too much, and I didn't really appreciate that.
Sure.
And it's Soul for me. I don't know. I was like half watching it when I was watching with my parents, so I just put it in slappers because I didn't feel. From what I've heard, it's very good. I just had to.
I mean, if it's not memorable, that's I agree though. If for you it's not memorable and you can't really like point anything out that you think really about it, then it's probably somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, it was just like I was doing something.
Like you didn't dislike it, you know that.
I feel like a thing with Pixar movies is like either you have to relate to it or there's like some sort of core memory attached to a lot of them.
I mean, a lot of it is nostalgia for me.
Because like these movies are meant to be like engaging to your like inner child and things like that. Like at least that's how I go into them. You know,
I agree. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So then you have like Incredibles 2. I kind of have the same opinion. It's just like it was good and it was nice to like see the characters finally.
Yeah,
should have been years and years ago, and we should have had more Incredibles movies.
Yeah, the Jack stuff, all that. Because I remember, you remember the hype you felt when Jack finally did something in Incredibles 1 versus like what?
And then at the end of the movie where the mole comes up through the ground, you're like, okay, cool, this is great. Like, and then you're expecting like a couple years later to get Incredibles 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember saying that in the theater when I was like 10 years old. I was like, I can't wait to see
like,
Incredibles 2.
This
it's
is
gonna be
awesome. And then here we are 20 years later.
Yeah, dude, I agree.
Or however, I mean, 15 years
there
later.
Was a long enough gap to acknowledge that it was annoying men.
Yeah, so that's why it kind of spoiled it for me when it eventually did come out. I wasn't really, as invested as I think I would have been back then.
Dude.
And then the other Toy Stories, good movies. I've always been a fan of Toy Story. Nothing too special. The only thing, my only gripe with Toy Story is that my name is Andrew, so everyone always wants to call me Andy, and I hate that.
That's
fair. We know you do. We know. You are Durs,
yeah.
not Andy.
So
ever.
they're good movies, but it's just is what it is. Finding Nemo for me is a good one. It was hard to put it down here, but I wanted to be pretty stringent with my top picks.
Okay.
So I was trying to stretch them out to the back. Finding Nemo is a really good movie for me. Ellen DeGeneres.
I'm shocked by this tier. I'm sorry. You just keep
ruins
going,
it a little bit. But
yeah, I'm starting to see
really,
some things.
Yeah, you're seeing because I have some wild.
Yeah, you can graze over Bug's Life if you want to. We can just get to the next one. Inside Out at number 8. What is that?
Yeah. See, because for me, I actually really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was a really interesting take.
Explain the premise to me, because I still don't get it. Like, I don't see the appeal. I don't see the appeal.
You don't see the appeal. It's what do you mean? It's just your emotions. Like it's about growing up and like what are memories and dealing with your emotions. And I just think it's really interesting to see like a perspective on like a theoretical child's life. Like, here's how they feel and this is how it makes them feel in the long term. I just think it's an interesting film because it came out at a time when people are starting to like be more conscious about mental health and like talk about it more. So I just really when I went and saw it, I really appreciated it at that time.
Okay.
When I saw it, it was like, oh, this is really nice. I just really enjoyed it.
I guess my surprise is
it made me feel good watching it.
Okay. It was feel good for you too. Okay, so that's the thing for me. Like, I think for me at that time too, I was also, excuse me, deeply invested into my mental health and like trying to figure stuff out going on with me. I am bipolar type 2, so that's a whole thing. So for me, I feel like it probably just didn't hit with me so much because I was kind of in a different, than more normal or equilibrium kind of place. Yeah. So maybe for me, I just didn't identify. Fair. Maybe now I would probably like the movie a little bit more than I'm more like.
What I was saying. These movies resonate differently with different people.
I'm just surprised to see it this high up. This is your highest ranking one of the newer generation of Pixar movies. So
yeah, I haven't. I mean, I don't watch a ton of the newer ones, as you can tell at the bottom. I haven't seen most of the newer.
I mean, you've seen Soul. That surprises me at least, even so.
Yeah, well, apparently not very much of it because I don't remember very much about it.
That is what it is. All right, so let's go on. What do you got next?
But yeah, so Monsters Inc. is a really good one for me. I remember watching that all the time. I feel like that's just like the timing of when that one came out.
Yeah, dude.
Because it makes it like a formative memory for me.
Do you guys remember the DVD screen for Monsters Inc.?
Yes.
The doors and all that
stuff. Yes, with all the doors rotating around.
No, but I remember the DVD screen for Borat, and if you try to change the language to Hebrew, the fucking DVD stops and starts playing super fucked up messages telling you to get out and the police are coming.
What?
I did not know that. That's amazing.
Borat, in the Borat version, if you try to change it to Hebrew, it just starts blaring a horn, calling you a monster, and says the police are coming.
That's horrible.
Or some shit like that. It's in Kazakhstani or whatever the fuck.
Nice. All right, Durs, finish it out. You got 6 more.
Yeah. So Incredibles, I it's very good, but it's not as formative to me as these other ones. Mm-hmm. Cars is like iconic to me. Like Ka-chow.
Yeah.
Like it's a movie about fucking cars. Like I don't know how you get animated cars to like be
NASCAR specifically
to have human emotions.
Dude, they made Turn and Left look real fucking cool.
I mean, it made NASCAR feel refined and like
peak NASCAR.
Yeah, that was like peak NASCAR.
Cars 1 is peak NASCAR, dude. That's amazing.
But I mean, moving on to like WALL-E. Like WALL-E is like one of my favorite movies like ever. Like WALL-E is like one of my favorite movies ever. But for me, emotion. I see a lot of this was based off emotion for me. I wasn't necessarily so concerned about how good the movie was standing up to other movies. Yeah, it was just like this is. Yeah, so like WALL-E for me is again just because like the environmental impact of that movie, like just thinking about, I can put myself in those human shoes of like, oh, our world is dying, we have all this trash piling up. We go out on this lifeboat, and then you come back and you have to like I don't know, the whole idea of just being the renewal of human civilization was a cool concept to me. I liked the whole premise of the movie, and it's really
very realistic.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it's.
And that's why I kind of like Ratatouille for the same reason. It's like a very human story. It's a very human story to me.
A very human story about a rat controlling a man.
Like I'll be the first one to say I don't like rodents. Rodents creep me out. I don't even like hamsters really very much.
That's
My
true.
sister
But
had
even
them
you're
for
not
kids.
as
I'm not a
inhumane
big
as the
fan.
guy who drowned that one
But
on the glue trap.
There's something about Ratatouille where it's like I didn't even hear what you said.
I was referencing last episode with the glue trap thing again.
Oh,
the water.
But my thing is like I just feel like the emotional story that they portray in the movie is like makes me care about the character so much. Like
yeah.
You I don't know. And then it's also just funny and it's kind of lighthearted, and I just really enjoy the whole vibe. It makes cooking, and it portrays cooking more accurately than most actual real cooking movies.
I'll give you that.
Or movies about chefs.
Yeah, I'll agree.
So I really enjoyed it being more realistic, because when I worked in restaurants, the chefs were exactly like not exactly like that, but like there's characters that you can pull out. Like I'm sure you've worked with people that are similar to that.
I've worked with some characters. I'll say that.
Yeah, like if you work in the restaurant industry, you can relate to the characters in the
that
movie.
We're controlling the men in the kitchen.
Characters is a fun word for crackheads. All right, let's give us that number one, Durs. Give us your
and then Up. For me, like I said, Up is like a masterpiece. I think there's not a second of Up that I would change. I think everything about the movie is great.
Would you agree that you need the sadness at the beginning to enjoy the
you
happiness
do.
of the
You
middle and
do.
the end?
Because everyone can understand like because we're human. All humans like think about the end of their life, and so that is just such an emotional journey to go through, to see somebody's kind of life and seeing them enjoy everything. And then you still get to like it makes the ending even more satisfying because you get to know who this person is.
All right, Parm, send us home, bud. It's your tier list. You have not seen a lot of these.
I have not seen a fuckload of these. Okay, so actually, since we were talking about it, I have seen Toy Story 4. Okay. I would just move it to the bottom of C.
Okay,
because I didn't.
Yeah, it's just a fair movie, but it's just there.
Okay.
Yeah, I did see that because it's just been a while.
So, are there any of these that you're gonna watch actually, though, other than
Soul?
Okay.
So I want to watch Soul, and I want to watch The Good Dinosaur, because at heart I am a dinosaur kid. That's what I was when I was 5.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Pterodactyl.
Okay, nice.
That's a good dinosaur.
You can tell it's a real answer because it was a seamless response. Just pterodactyl. No hesitation of thought. Just
pterodactyls are always the best fruit.
I liked the ankylosaur.
The ankylosaur, that's a good one.
Yeah, he's a cool one.
So I need a caveat real quick. So I don't know what Cars movies posters were each one.
So the one with the tire at the bottom is 1.
That should be an S tier.
Okay. We'll make a mental note that is your
number. Parm. I thought that was 1 as well.
So and then the one with because they had never unveiled Lightning's face when they put the poster out. So the wheels was kind of like the whole indication that it was a car movie.
Yeah.
And then 2 is the one with the blue tarp, because that's the one where they're showing Lightning's back kind of thing. They're revealing underneath the hood.
2 is the one with the blue tarp?
Yes. And then 3 is the one with all the people on it.
Okay. So then imagine this first one. That is Cars 3.
You're putting the cussy at the bottom.
I'm putting the cussy at the bottom. I just didn't care about it.
For the audio listener, Trill is bottoming for the cussy.
I am bottoming for the cussy. So cussy, whatever, cool, funny little meme. But aside from that, it's just a kind of a weak movie overall for me.
You're right.
Monsters University. I mean, same thing. It's just like I was in college when it came out, and I was like, I see it, it's kind of cool, but like
it's not. It wasn't even really for you though. Even if it was like, if you would have been the target, which you kind of really were. I mean, I guess it was for kids, but it's also for like I think people who kind of grew up on it. And I feel like
it was kids, and they like threw a little bit of a bone towards old people's way.
Right. For me, is like. So when this movie was coming out, like Monsters University, I remember on Twitter and on social media, people were like, if I see any fucking kids in this theater, movie is for us. This is for my generation. And like I had people like I had my older cousins like saying that shit to me. And I'm like,
I only had one movie ever where I felt that way, and it happened, but I didn't have to express it. So when I went to see Endgame, when that was coming out, I was sitting in the middle top with Sam, and there's this like bit it was me and then like Sam and then like a bunch of other adults, and then like there's like 6 or 7 seats at the end of the top aisle open, and it's 2 adults and like 5 kids. And I'm like thinking about it, and I'm like, this is a PG-13 movie. It shouldn't be here. And this big big black nerd stands up and
So-
goes,
so
"Hey yo,
that-
fuck them kids," and I was like,
Yeah.
"My man, thank you."
Bro, so, you know, kind of same. So for this is a little sidebar, I guess, a little off topic.
Yeah.
I kind of have the same sort of harboring like hatred when I go to watch a Marvel movie, except
Yeah.
it's towards other Marvel fans. I feel like they shouldn't be there because you motherfuckers clap and cheer at random fucking parts of the movie. Just sit down and fucking.
Oh yeah,
wait
I
until the
agree with that.
credits happen.
No.
I fucking
I agree
hate
too.
that shit.
Say nothing until at least the credits roll. If you clap, then
Yep.
that's acceptable.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
Like,
if you want to
God,
clap, then
so-
I still don't get it, but whatever.
Like, first of all, you're clapping and cheering, and they probably made a snarky, stupid ass joke that you missed. So just
big laugh,
that-
from audience is
yeah.
fine. You know, when everyone laughs
Yeah.
at something, I'm fine with that. But like,
yeah,
the people being like,
laughter is
dude,
totally
people when
fine.
people okay, so when I saw fucking Civil War and Spider-Man show, someone goes, "Woo!" I just turned around and I was like, "This is my moment. That's my favorite superhero, and you just ruined this moment forever for me."
Like the
hate
thing
talking
is
in
like,
movie theater.
laughter and like laughter when something's funny or if it's a comedy movie, or like screaming if it's a horror movie
or a Marvel
like
movie because they're fucking comedy
like-
movies.
like actual human reactions rather than you fucking clapping or going, "Oh fuck yeah!" Like I
Dude.
had people doing that in the theater, and I was like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like, or like just because you've been waiting for this and you have no personality outside of the Marvel universe does not mean you get to act and behave like a goddamn animal.
Dude,
So okay, that's that sidebar of why
we can tell stories all day about movies where we had fucking bad experiences
exactly.
with dumb
So,
shit people.
Moving on, Toy Story 3 will round out like the bottom of B, but I kind of wish I had moved it up because now I'm thinking about the trash scene. So it'd probably be at the top.
That shit got my heart real good.
I never have been the biggest fan of Toy Story in general, so like that's why I just never really grabbed me.
If it wasn't for you, it wasn't for you.
Yeah, and then Inside Out, same thing for Durs, kind of. I love that it was like just an exploration into mental health, and just it's cool to see how a kid will feel because like you kind of forget like when I have little cousins dealing with little kids like working at KJ's and stuff back then. It's like you forget that they have their own emotions that they're still discovering and understanding. They're not me who spent 25 years sorting it out.
Yeah, I found it very realistic to how I felt as a kid. Like, you know, you just kind of fly off the handle when you're angry or you get super sad. You have very, very deep emotions as a child.
Man.
I like, and then this should be Cars 2 right here because it's like the spy one, right? Yeah, I fucking love that. I love Mater. I love that he was like doing his spy shit. I love like the cars peeing themselves and being called lemons. I thought that was hilarious. I love the international. I love how Lightning went out to do international races and was like struggling and things like that because it shows like it really shows like if you take some Americans out of their bubble and they stop seeing that they're the greatest of all time and whatever bullshit.
The old American exceptionalism.
Yeah, exactly. I love
Cars 2 allegory.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
We found it. Okay.
There we go.
All right, on to Ratatouille.
Ratatouille. I mean, me and Potential. Come on, like there's one scene though that I love. It's like when he's like out with his brother gathering food, and he has a lightning to strike the fucking fork or whatever to cook it. That I don't know why, but I love that. Like ever since I was a kid, I was like, my dumb ass wanted to stick a fork in the air and be like, "Heat this nugget, God!" Like, I don't know. I love that scene.
That's amazing.
I like all the little rat inventions they show, like all the stuff the rats have in the cave.
I love the rat society interested me so much as a kid. I don't really know why.
Right? That's I thought it was so neat.
Like that movie and that movie Flushed Away. If you know what I'm talking about.
I was about to say that the inner workings of the Flushed Away Society was crazy, and I was just thinking about that when you guys were talking about Ratatouille.
These two movies kind of came out at around the same time. Those two movies kind of came out near the same time. So like. Man, as also with being a dinosaur kid, Rat Society aficionado, you know, loved it.
Well, you know,
and then moving on, Monsters Inc. This is just like everything in A tier isn't really here because I think they're really exceptional or anything. They're just core memories.
Okay.
So like Monsters Inc. core memory, boo, whatever. Watched it with my cousins at sleepovers. Same thing for Toy Story 2, like really strong story, but like again, I never really liked Toy Story, but this is a core memory. Now WALL-E is here because I think the story's fucking cool, like all the stuff, like the fact that so much story is told without dialogue. I appreciate that more now.
Yeah,
you
there's
know?
a lot of world building done very quickly with just like assumption and like detail. Yeah.
Exactly. And then Toy Story 1, classic among classics, you know, you can't really like not knock this. And then Finding Nemo was my favorite movie and like animated movie growing up. Like I watched it all the time, which
Hell
is why
yeah.
it's
Fish
here.
are friends, not food.
Fish are
Yeah.
friends, not food. So many good things. Bugs Life, the bussy. That meme.
The bug
Putting it up,
gussy.
No, it's the Bugusi.
Plus, like I think it's so cool. Like just the ants fighting like the
The
Bug
shit.
Society. It's the same
The
thing.
I love.
It's really
I
all
love
about
it.
Yeah.
the society.
Yeah.
I love the societies, bro. I love it. Incredible. This is another movie that I
It's
watched
another
so much as a
societal
kid.
based movie.
Another societal. There's a funny thing about society.
Society.
You are in your Joker arc. You said it. You know.
Yeah, I am in my Joker arc. This one, I love Dash. I love like just this movie. Like when it came out, it was so good. I watched a lot. This was one of the few movies where I went through all the bonus features as a kid and did
me
all
too.
that stuff.
Yeah, the bonus features. Yeah.
I think it has the best bonus features on the DVD. Now Up, I mean, come on, this is a masterpiece. It's a master class in emotional storytelling, as well as I think it does everything you want a Pixar movie to do better than pretty much most of them. I think we good. I think Andrew hit on everything I like about it. Plus, like talking dogs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Doug is
Also,
very cute dog in that
there's
movie.
this one guy, one of my friends, in school, Chris. He looked exactly like the little boy in Up. So like,
Oh yeah.
he'd go with him like for Halloween and shit, and he'd just be holding a fucking balloon. It'd be great. It was great.
Awesome.
So shout out Chris.
Quality.
Shout out
Cars
Chris.
Cars 1. Good cow. We already said it. It's the only one that says good cow. And I mean, this is like a peak Owen Wilson also, you know. It's just everything about this movie is so fucking good.
I remember when I first heard Owen Wilson's voice as a car, I was like, it took me a second to like reorient myself.
Yeah.
The first time I heard it. It's like, wait a minute, is that Owen Wilson?
Owen Wilson got some fucking range, boys. Like he was in what skate video was he in? He was in Yeah Right. Yeah, he was in Yeah Right.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen that clip where he's like pretending to fucking bomb a rail and just talk mad shit, it's a classic.
That video's awesome.
I literally watch that video like once a week. Now my hottest take, I guess, Onward, number 1. This is my favorite Pixar movie. I watched it like
to watch that.
It's good.
Like it's so good. I love like just the tale of the two brothers. Like they bicker. It's like growing up with your siblings or your cousins or whoever it may be. You just see that. You see like where you're bickering. You see where you're like working together. It's all there. Like growing up like super close. My parents were working all the time, so I was always around my like siblings or cousins or whatever. So like I could really relate a lot to this. Plus the Manticore, fucking cool. I just love how it's like that old like D&D style adventure in like the modern era, and it's like
it was cool to see all the magical creatures build like a normal society, like with like houses.
Exactly.
You know, they have bars and they own their own businesses.
What you were saying about like with your siblings is the same thing I think with Incredibles too, because like with the Incredibles is like there's a lot of that.
The Dash Violet relationship was
me
cool.
and you were in the same situation where we both had a sister, and it was like basically that same age gap. Yeah. So like for me, like that's why I like Incredibles so much.
Interacting. I think that's why I put it up there.
Oh yeah, man.
But Onward, I just think it's so cool, fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that then. I didn't realize that's what it was.
Good. It's my
I haven't even really heard about that.
Very good.
How recently did it come out?
Underrated. Underrated AF.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for sharing your tier lists with us and doing the whole thing. It was a little bit longer section.
Yeah, our exhaustive movie review.
Yes. Hopefully the 26th Pixar movie can topple all of these and maybe, surpass our expectations here on the 110 pod. And with that, actually, everybody, that's been another episode. So we're going to say thank you and adios. See you guys. Bye.